We're excited to learn with and from you. Our focus in the session is AI, artificial intelligence, and LXD, learning experience design. As a note, we will be recording the main portion of this session for those who are unable to attend in real time, but the breakout rooms that we'll be using will not be recorded. To support your processing today, we've created a participant notebook. You can make a copy of it, or you can respond on paper, or your preferred method of processing. You can also download it. So if you have not done so already, please use the links on the screen or in the chat to get into your participant notebook.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us today. To get our collaboration started, we'll ask you to share some information with us anonymously so that we can use it during our time together today. So I'm launching a poll, and if you would ever so delightfully respond so that we can help incorporate that into our session today. All right, so as we take a look at things, it looks like we have a nice kind of range of beginning AI users, generative AI users, people who are comfortable with those basics, and folks who are confident as well. And then in terms of learners using it, it's probably unsurprising to us that most of us feel like learners should be using generative AI in structured ways and also should be able to use it in meaningful ways to support their learning. Thanks so much for sharing so that we can incorporate that.
Okay, so as we get started, we'd like to introduce ourselves. We are faculty from two programs at Michigan State University, the Master of Arts in Learning Experience Design and the Master of Arts in Educational Technology. My name is Liz Boltz, and I am the director of both programs.
Hi, everybody. My name is Brittany Dillman. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the Graduate Certificate Programs Director for our two programs. And I'll pass it over to Candace.
I'm Candace Robertson. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm the Assistant Director of Student Experience and Outreach. Today, we will establish norms, purposes, and goals, define key terms and technologies, question and critique AI in a breakout room, consider AI through two lenses, and share with others in a breakout room. And I see that we've already had some sharing of some pets and wonderful things like that. So at any time, please feel free to share anything in the chat, especially if that's your preferred way of feeling comfortable too. This is our community engagement framework, which is going to be used to guide our interactions today. First, it's really important that we say, like, we know AI has been here, we know it will continue to be here, and that it is very problematic in a lot of complex ways. So we need to develop critical skills and mindsets around AI, and that's why we're here today. We are all co-learners. This is a part of a much bigger journey. We're going to share a lot of information that will hopefully advance you through those comfort levels with AI and where you're feeling in your own knowledge base of it. We're going to ask you to move up and share when it's important and relevant. We're going to ask you to move back and take in what your colleagues also have to say and share during this time, because all of us bring our own expertise, and we're really appreciative of sharing this space today together. If there are other norms that you would like us to incorporate, please feel free to share those in the chat, just like anything throughout our time together today.
So our shared goals today, this is Liz speaking, are to define key terms related to an artificial intelligence, to describe concerns surrounding AI and LXD, to expand our knowledge of AI tools for your design use, and to expand your knowledge of AI tools for learners' use. So we want to help demystify AI a little bit so that you know enough to be intentional and critical in your use. It might be a little too much if you are very new. It might be not enough if you are very advanced. But there is a section in your participant notebook for you to take notes if you choose and to continue to explore beyond this workshop. And we will give you processing time throughout this workshop as well.
Okay, so if you head over to your participant notebook, you can follow along with some notes. Artificial intelligence is where we'll start, and that describes machines that are designed to learn and think like humans. So these are your navigation tools, your spell check and autocorrect. There's an image on this slide with an arrow going into a box, and it has a thicker arrow coming out of the box. That kind of represents the input and output of AI.
Generative AI is AI that can create new media based on data on which they have been trained. So this includes things like ChatGPT, which you're probably familiar with, image tools like DALL-E, video tools like Wondershare, Filmora, audio like Veed and Beethoven. And the image on this slide shows an arrow going from left to right, moving into a machine. And then a different shaped arrow is coming out of the machine, continuing to go right. Then there's another barrier, and 3 arrows are continuing on the right side. So just kind of showing that data is coming through and generating new media.
And then we need to build a little understanding about an algorithm. An algorithm is a sequence of well-defined, precise steps for solving a problem. So things like a recipe or directions on how to get from point A to point B. There's an image on this slide that lists a series of vertical numbers, 1 through 5, and it places those numbers within that AI image that we've previously described. So an input happens, the algorithm runs, and an output happens. And the reason why we read through the images on the slides is a part of our accessibility practice, just to name that for you.
Pattern recognition is another important concept, and that is the ability of machines to identify patterns and make decisions or predictions using algorithms. So this might be the next move in a chess game, facial recognition software, handwriting recognition software, etc. And the picture on the right of this is maybe kind of familiar to some of us when we have to prove that we're a human. So identifying the cars or the vehicles in this image, and each of them are sort of identified with different colored squares.
And then we're getting into machine learning. So machine learning involves the development of algorithms and models to help machines actually improve their performance. So this is how websites come up with suggested video and media for us in our feed. It's how image recognition works. It's how speak recognition, like voice dialing or like appliance control works. And this slide has an infographic with definitions and examples of components, industry applications, and limitations of machine learning.
Deep learning is computers using neural networks that are inspired by the structure and function of the human brain to learn from themselves and get more precise. So deep learning drives today's powerful generative AI. These include things like voice-enabled TV remotes, credit card fraud detection, and self-driving cars. On the right of this slide is an image that includes 3 circles demonstrating the relationship between AI. The largest circle holds 2 other circles. Machine learning is in the middle, which is a subfield of AI, and then deep learning, which is the smallest circle within the larger circles because it's a subfield of machine learning. And you'll notice we're describing the images. That's another accessibility practice that we have, and just a little plug for UDL. Also helps with folks who maybe aren't able to look at the screen right now.
In terms of natural language processing, these are all things you might have heard of maybe, but weren't really sure how they defined or fit together. There's a lot of relationship between a lot of these. So NLP hopes to give computers more human-like abilities in text and spoken word. So it takes algorithms and pattern recognition and machine learning and combines them to kind of give it this more human-like ability. So these are our smart assistants like Siri and Alexa, predictive text and language translation. The image on the slide has two intersecting circles. Computer science and linguistics are those larger circles, and where they overlap is defined as NLP, or the natural language processing. AI and machine learning kind of make a square around them.
Natural language generation, or NLG, is the use of AI to produce natural spoken or written narrative. NLG relies on machine learning algorithms. This includes voice assistants that we're familiar with, like Alexa or Siri, personalizing customer messages, and transcription tools. This slide has a graphic that shows the process of a customer asking, "What's your return policy?" And then that question is routing through natural language understanding, machine learning, and natural language generation to generate a response of, "You can return your item within 30 days of receipt."
And then we have large language models. LLMs are a type of generative AI that really understand and generate human language. So they use deep learning techniques to get better over time. The image, and this is like GPT-4, Bard, Claude 2. So again, we're seeing how there's similarities in between how some of these technologies are classified. So the image to the right shows how LLMs are trained from a large amount of data. So books, websites, text training data, and it processes that to produce adaptations for planning and language translation. So it's like when your friend finishes a sentence for you, but like with a way bigger set of data source.
Chatbot is a computer program that simulates human conversation with an end user, which is probably you. Chatbots rely on NLP and NLG, and they include things like ChatGPT, Claude 2, Microsoft Copilot, Google Bard. This image shows a flowchart of a question and possible outputs, which are yes or no, and potential next questions or prompts.
Okay, and the last one in this series we're going to talk about is a prompt. So a prompt is what you're actually inputting into that AI. So it's text-based instructions that provide that direction and context for the AI system to give you the output that you're hoping to generate. So you can think of kind of four components of this: an objective, which is a description of the desired output. Is this going to be an image, text? What is this going to actually be? The style and tone. So how do you want this to come across? What is the tone or voice? The content requirements. So these would be the key components of the content that are needed. And then the context. So any other information that AI would need in order to kind of make this as context specific as possible. So there's an example on this slide that has each of these parts highlighted in different colors. That objective is yellow, style and tone is green, content requirements are white, and the context is kind of a light bluish teal.
Right, so that was a lot of content, and it will be the most talking that we will probably do. So we would like you to take a moment to process some of that. So review any notes that you took, or feel free to kind of revisit the slides, which are linked in your participant notebook, and process in your notebook. Feel free to include questions there, or if you feel comfortable, you're welcome to share them in the chat so that we can all think about those. All right, as you're wrapping up your thoughts, we'll move in to some questions about how we might leverage generative AI in learning experience design. So some of the categories that we're going to explore today are productivity, which can include things like accountability, outlining tasks, task management, coming up with first drafts of different types of content, data analysis. Importantly, if you're using generative AI, be careful about what your inputs are and that they don't include identifying information, proofreading, and then accessibility, which is another very big, very important category of learning experience design. That could include things like material generation in different formats, differentiated resource drafts, personalized learning opportunities, and different accessibility practices, for example, alt text. And then the final category that we'll explore is creativity. So how can we use AI with brainstorming, with ideation, and with creation of artifacts?
Okay, so those were the key terms and some ways to think about how you might use AI in your work. So let's talk about what those technologies might be a little bit more. So this slide has categorizations of different tools that are available and kind of some of the ones that are most common or popular, and then maybe some that you don't know about yet. So there are chatbots listed for you to explore. There are art, graphic, and image generators. There's image editors, productivity and meeting resources and tools, instructional materials. And you'll note that a lot of the instructional materials are geared towards K-12 learners, but we really encourage you to explore those as well, because we know that we have a range of learners in all of the spaces we work in who might be language learners, who might be reading at different reading levels as well. And so there are a lot of ways to differentiate easily in some of those resources and tools. Presentations and presentation generators, audio and video production, and assessment. And so these are here for you to explore later, as well as we'll come back to those in a little bit here together.
So as with any technology, it's very important that we question and critique artificial intelligence. AI has already been accused of underestimating the health needs of Black patients, making it less likely that people of color will be approved for a mortgage. Some of the image sets that have been used to teach machine learning systems how to recognize people and objects have been shown to include racist slurs and images captured non-consensually. Additionally, we have the data that it's pulling from is from humans, so it concludes bias, racism, discrimination, et cetera. There are data security and privacy issues, lack of transparency about how these machine models work, ethical value, societal implications. There are major environmental impacts. So there are many different aspects of AI that is very important to critique as we are learning how to leverage that AI in our contexts. So with that said, we would like you to visit the AI Critique Problems, Concerns, and Questions section of your participant notebook to reflect for a few moments. What are you wondering? What do you hear in your networks? What are others saying about these concerns or questions? And any other reflections that you have on that discussion that we just initiated.
All right, so now we're going to take that individual thought and bring it into a breakout room. So there will be breakout rooms that will be released that you'll join. In those breakout rooms, you'll do a brief introduction. You'll share what you're wondering about and how this group can help you. We will help to send you some time reminders to keep you synced up. And then if you have any questions, feel free to share in the chat. But Brittany's going to open those rooms here shortly, and then you'll be able to join them.
All right. Welcome back, everyone. We hope you had some wonderful discussions in your breakout rooms. Now we're going to move on to consider AI through two lenses. The first lens is your learning experience design practice and AI use. So in your participant notebooks, we'd like you to pick something. It could be accountability, accessibility, brainstorming, some of those categories we talked about at the beginning, or whatever is in alignment with your needs. And think about what you can start with right now in terms of your LXD practice and AI. So go to your participant notebook, if you would, and have an independent reflection on responding to the first prompt, which is how could focus on an area of your workflow and think about how AI use might help with that. Then secondly, we'll ask that you pick a tool to explore. That could be something that you've already explored or a brand new one, and try it out. And ideally, this could be something that could potentially help you with the response to prompt one. So I will be quiet and we will let you independently work on that for about 4 minutes.
All right, now that you've reflected on your practice, let's think about the learners and their practice and how they're using AI. So, in your participant notebook in the next section, you will reflect on how are your learners using AI and how can you design to help them use it more effectively. We especially want you to consider accessibility and how AI can create more inclusive learning environments. And on this slide, we share a list of things like text to speech, real time captioning, alt text on images, executive functioning. So some folks even say like AI is accessible intelligence. So, how might you leverage these tools for accessibility in order to support your learners? So, we'll give you 4 minutes again to reflect on that in your participant notebook.
All right, as you're wrapping up your thoughts there, um, we would like to give you this exploration of challenges and considerations for design when we're using artificial intelligence. So what models or frameworks can frame use of AI and learning experience design and learning spaces? What about the validity and the sources of where content comes from in generative AI outputs? Effective and efficient ways to use AI and LXD, using AI at the highest level, accessible AI resources, and others' fear of AI. So these are just some of the challenges that we've encountered, shared by other folks like yourself, when using AI in design. So we're going to go back into breakout rooms and share and help each other improve our AI use in design. So what we'd like you to do is, for about the first 2 minutes of your breakout, talk about how you're currently using AI, in what ways. And then spend about 2 minutes talking about how your learners are using AI. And then finally, in the last 2 minutes or so, how can this group help you address challenges in your context? So with that said, we'd ask that you were you heading to our participant notebook? Sorry, we've got the participant notebook mark on the slide. So they go there first?
There's notes there, and
There's
these
notes
prompts
there.
are there for you.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right. So you can find these prompts in your participant notebook, but we will be sending you to breakout rooms to discuss these. So with that, go forth and discuss.
And for the folks who came in just a couple minutes ago, I have put you in a breakout room with some folks who were already there. So a quick round of intros might be a good idea.
Thank you, Brittany.
All right. Thank you so much for the fruitful, hopefully, discussion and engagement and collaboration. Now we'd like to share, since you've been sharing with each other, about how we got here today. So when we knew we wanted to put together a learning experience about this, we first put together an outline of essential things that we wanted to do and items of content and the experience that we wanted to get to. And then a part of this that we didn't reveal yet is that we wanted to reveal how AI would have designed this entire experience for you as well. So what we did was we generated a prompt and we gave it a very specific role. So part of prompting can also be giving the platform a role. So we asked generative AI to act as a presentation facilitator. And we wanted to compare the outline, and we were really careful about this. What we did was we developed our outline, we developed our content, then we went back and did the prompting, because we didn't want it at first to influence our original human ideas and where we're coming from things at. So we gave it a role and we gave it the prompt. And then in Claude, it returned a generated outline. And Liz, if you want to move on to the next one.
Sorry, I was reading the chat. There's some great discussion.
You're good, yeah. You're good. So Claude's outline returned that there's an image on the screen that has sections of content and timing and a bulleted list of each kind of topic that provides a snapshot of supporting content. And then I pulled out for you kind of that basic outline of, yep, they had the intro, the AI terms, things of that nature. And then we plugged it into ChatGPT to see how that would be different, or would it be different? And so there's 3 images on the right, and there's a little more that ChatGPT pulled out, and it gave us sections and timing in a bulleted list. And under each topic was that snapshot of supporting content again. And then you'll see that there is And then you'll note that there is an outline that was generated that I was able to pull those core pieces together. So let's look at those 3 outlines compared. So our team is on the left, what Claude generated is in the middle, and what ChatGPT generated is on the far right. I've highlighted those similarities in colors. So you'll see everything had an introduction, everything talked about terms and kind of basic information. And so what we found when we compared this is that thankfully, the more human-centered pedagogical pieces were available in our original outline as designers, and they weren't present in the Claude and ChatGPT outlines, although there were attempts at this from some of the platforms. So also this knowledge of the learner and their understanding of their needs came from us, whereas it wasn't available in the other, in the AI platforms. And you might be thinking to yourself, but Candace, that's an outline. What might the presentation be like? So I just plugged in a really bare minimum, what I would consider a bare minimum prompt into Microsoft's Copilot. And there's a ChatGPT plugin that you can use inside of Microsoft's Copilot. And soon I think Microsoft's Copilot will be able to do all of this for you. But what I did is I put that bare minimum prompt in to Copilot. It generated information, and then I just used the plugin and I just turned it on, and it made this entire presentation. This entire thing took about 3 minutes total from the prompt to the final presentation. We're going to share the link out right now. I'm going to do that. And that is the example presentation. There have been no edits made so that you can actually understand what is possible with these tools in a matter of literally just a few minutes.
I want to jump in. This is Brittany. Hi, everybody. Dr. Gloria had asked a question about writing prompts. Dr. Gloria, please let us know if you have more questions or ideas or wonderings after Candace explained those things.
Yes, and in our resources section, which we'll get to in a little bit, there is specifically for ChatGPT, there's a bunch of example prompts. There's a resource that takes you to those, and those can really be modified for any platform that you'd be using.
All right, so we would like to revisit our goals that we stated at the beginning of the session, which were to define key terms related to AI, to describe concerns surrounding AI and LXD, and to expand our knowledge of AI tools for our design use, as well as expanding tools of AI for learners' use. So I think we've gotten through most of those today. One of the things that we want to just share with you is citing AI and APA and how you would go about and do that. So here are some resources for you. We won't read through all these, but it's just helpful information to have. And then again, citing AI in MLA format, another helpful thing to have, because we always believe and we encourage our learners as well that when you are using AI, it is extremely important to be transparent about that and to cite it appropriately, just like we would other content. So here is a big old list of resources for you to explore. It is a few different kinds of resources. So some of these are articles. I will highlight just the AI and digital colonialism and AI accelerating the loss of natural resources. Those are some critical pieces that talk about just the very important impacts of AI that we need to be aware of. The rest are some guidance for using AI, as well as some chat GPT prompt help and some other terms and just kind of declarative sort of resource information-based resources that you may find helpful in your practice. And with that, we want to thank you so much for being here with us today, and we hope it's been valuable for you. You will find in the quick links section of your participant notebook a link so that you can create your very own certificate of participation for this session. So you're welcome to do that on your own, either now or after the session. And as you continue your journey with AI, with learning experience design, please don't hesitate to reach out to us if you have questions or want to connect. connect. We love connecting with folks from all over, so please reach out to us via email. Our address is malxdegree@msu.edu, which we'll put in the chat. And with that, we hope you have a fantastic rest of your day.